Still not satisfied yet with everything going on with the Secret Service investigation into the debacle surrounding an assassination attempt on a former president named Donald Trump. I've been very dissatisfied with Kimberly Cheadle. She was the former director. She has now resigned after a disastrous testimony of over 4 hours where she was grilled relentlessly over her lack of preparation for the hearing, the numerous fails that were experienced on the day of the event, and especially the leadership posture in the organization under her tenure. So that leads us to the new person who's in charge. And it causes me to ask the question, just who is Secret Service Acting Director Ronald Rowe? Well, I'll tell you, we have some information on him because he was in a hearing yesterday getting a fresh grilling from numerous senators. It was a bipartisan roast fest. And so let me tell you who he is. He's acting Secret Service Director Ronald L. Rowe Jr. He worked for the Obama White House. He also worked for the Senate Judiciary Chairman Pat Leahy, who was a Democrat from Vermont back when he was in office. And he is a career partisan law enforcement official because, as you notice there, he's only worked directly for Democrats, a former partisan Democrat staffer. So again, not what I was looking for when I thought they might replace Kim Cheadle with someone with some real oomph in their resume. I was looking for a former special operator, someone who'd maybe served on active duty in the military or who had tactical response experience, maybe someone who'd been in the Secret Service after working in the FBI or the CIA during covert ops. I mean, maybe I watched too many John Wick movies in my spare time, but I'm looking for someone who could take a gun apart with one hand and then put it back together in like 60 seconds. Actors can do it. Why can't we have a Secret Service head that looks like that, sounds like that, operates like that, and has that experience? We're talking about the Secret Service here. They protect people's lives, and we've had an unprecedented event in the history of this country. We don't usually have former presidents gunned down. Usually, the assassination attempts are on sitting officials, and they are rare and few and far between. So an operational morass of this type would warrant that we take a different tack in the replacement of the head of this organization. Instead of getting someone who's used to pushing paper and pencils, how about we get someone who's used to actually using firearms, someone who can use Krav Maga to disarm an opponent, someone who has the physical bearing of an actual bodyguard, not someone who puts me in the mind of a librarian or former Senate staffer, which is what I see when I look at this gentleman, Mr. Rowe. And I'm not trying to be insulting. I don't mean to make it seem as if the appearance is everything about the aspect of this individual that would make them qualified for this work. I'm talking about the fact that they should have a background that lends itself to them looking that way because that's who they are. We need people at the Secret Service who are actually into the job of protecting other people, and they should be physically, mentally, and experientially over-equipped for the job. Like, I want them to be over-equipped to do Secret Service work. And that's all of law enforcement. I'm tired of seeing tubby, round-faced, young-looking police officers, Secret Service agents, all of these people. They should look like they actually are built for this work. So, a few other things here. And I'm not the only one who's looking at his qualifications and his service and wondering how he got to be the acting director. Now, admittedly, he was Kim Cheadle's he was her assistant director. So it's natural that he would step into that role in a temporary situation until they can find someone that they want. I'm hoping that the U.S. Senate in their advise and consent role will actually strike out any of the nominees or individuals that they put forward who don't actually have the proper posture for this job. But there's a little bit more that he was sharing, this acting Secret Service chief. It turns out that he was said to have, and this is news reporting across the spectrum, is now saying that he actually participated in the key decision-making role of limiting resources to the Trump protectorate group. So you have him really denying that yesterday under oath in his testimony, but the research on this doesn't actually support what he said. So Susan Crabtree is over at Daily Signal, but she also writes She's a political correspondent for Real Clear Politics. She's very much an investigative reporter, and she has been someone who has continually put forward information on X that really we haven't seen anybody come with any receipts to assail what she said. No one is refuting or rebutting her research on this. So she's saying, of course, you have him succeeding Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle, who resigned last week after her brutal testimony before the House Oversight Committee. But both Rowe and Cheadle were directly involved in decisions that denied requests from Trump. They were asking for magnetometers, additional agents, and other resources to help screen rally goers at these large outdoor Trump campaign gatherings. Now, I said before on the program, and if you missed it, I'll just recap here really quickly. In an organization, whatever attitude the head of that organization has, it trickles down and is spread through communication to the rest of the organization. It doesn't mean that everyone in the organization adopts that attitude, but there can be a lackadaisical approach that follows a lack of respect for a person within the organization. Example here is you have Kimberly Cheadle, who has a distinct distaste for Donald Trump. So while he is literally her responsibility to keep alive as the head of the organization, when she tasks resources, when she looks at, how many people, how many additional resources will we give to this team? We'll give them what they're actually owed and not an iota more. We're not spending any extra money on Team Trump. We're not going to overtax and overburden the organization to defend him. So once the rest of the organization hears language like that, when they understand that while they are to do their jobs, they're to protect him, they're not to expend additional resources, that attitude seeps down into every aspect of their work on a daily basis, making him a perfect target for a 20-year-old gunman seeking to take revenge on Republicans because they're putting up a candidate who's literally Hitler. And understand that. The Democrats set the table here. The Democrats are the ones who push this narrative that Trump is Hitler. They're the ones who told their party and all of America, 300 and some odd million people, that Donald Trump is an existential threat to liberty and that he must be stopped at all costs. It's no wonder that a 20-year-old whose brain isn't fully developed because he's not yet 25 would take this extraordinary measure because he feels like he's doing a good thing. Even if he gets killed in the process, if he takes out Trump, it's the essential the essential comparison. I took out Hitler. This is what this 20-year-old is thinking because he's been told again and again and again, incessantly on media, everywhere he looks, every news channel that's mainstream is saying Trump is Hitler. We've played the montage here for you on the show. If you want to watch it again, go over to mrctv.org and watch all of their montages. Trump is Hitler montages. Everybody you know in media who is mainstream saying Trump is Hitler. So if you look at it that way, if you look at the operational structure of the Secret Service, if you understand that it wasn't just Kimberly Cheadle, but it was her assistant director, this new head of the organization, Rowe, who actually felt that, we're not going to spend extra money on this man because in their minds, they've bought the lie as well. Trump is Hitler. Why would you protect Hitler? Why would you be sad that Hitler was shot? Why would you be upset that someone missed? If the person's Hitler, you want them taken out. This is an evil person. Well, now we see the result of that. We need better leadership at the Secret Service. And in my opinion, Acting Director Ronald Rowe is not it. We'll have more for you on this. In fact, up next, why is the Biden administration allowing Iran to sidestep sanctions meant to stop terrorism? I'll have that and more for you. Stay right there.